What's up guys, my name is Witty, and today we are on a brand new account so I can show you something that is unique to Runex but is seen on other servers. We just do things a little differently here. And today we're going to talk about boss points and the Boss Point Perk Tree, as well as what you should be doing to farm boss points and how you should be spending all of the points that you have. Now, if you see the Beastmaster here at home, he is just east of the Raids portal and just west of the Slayer Master. You can't miss him. When you talk to him here, you'll have four options. Obviously, the perk tree. You will have this dialogue here that explains what boss points are. Simply put, you kill a boss, you get X amount of boss points. Pretty simple. This boss point list will tell you how many boss points you get for each boss. Again, very simple. The Boss Point reward shop is full of a bunch of items that, in my opinion, you really shouldn't worry about until you have completed, at bare minimum, 2 to 3 unlocks on your perk tree. These divine shards are something you need towards the late game as far as enchanting goes, and the rest of this stuff is just something you'll find along the way anyways. So I would not recommend spending points there until you're in the end game. Now for the biggest part of this guide, the Boss Point Perk Tree. There's a lot to talk about here. There are a lot of perks that you can unlock, but we're going to talk about 2 paths you can take for right now. I don't think there are many other options as far as the perk tree goes. You really only have 2 ways you could go. Soul Snatcher 2 and 3, and going straight up the middle here, is something you want to do last. And I say that because Soul Snatcher really only gives you an extra boss point per kill, and right now, we're not worried about that. The main thing we want is Swift Spawner, right here. Now, if you're going for any kind of instanced bossing, anything like that, you want to instance God Wars in your POH, you need Swift Spawner. It cuts that respawn time down from 30 seconds to 10 seconds, and that is so much faster. It is very noticeable. On the way there, you're going to get some Gold Rush updates. It's just going to give you more coins per drop. It's really not worth it, but again, Swift Spawner is what we're here for. If instanced God Wars and things like that are not what you're trying to go for, then the only other option is to immediately go for superior Slayer bosses. And I would definitely recommend you to do this if you're a Prime or Heroic player and you're grinding out Slayer early on, and you know, it's something that's really useful for that. If you don't plan on doing instanced God Wars dungeons or instanced bosses in your POH, then definitely go for superior Slayer bosses, and then eventually superior God Wars dungeon bosses and instanced Slayer, which you would then follow up by going for Swift Spawner to make everything faster. It's pretty self-explanatory, and as you can see, it does have quite a cost on it. So you're going to be spending, to get superior Slayer bosses too, in total, I believe it's 13,500 boss points, which sounds like a huge number, but when you get up here to Greed 1, for example, you learn that that's really not that big of a number. And if you're on Runex because you thought there wasn't going to be a grind, well, got bad news for you. You're on the wrong server. However, we can speed all of this up by eventually going for Soul Snatcher 3, which does cost you 20,000. Not including Soul Snatcher 1, of course. It's 21,000 total for Soul Snatcher 3, which gives you a 25% chance to receive +1 or 2 extra boss points per kill. While this seems very intimidating, even though there aren't a ton of different options, it can be a pain to have to grind all of this out. So we're going to go ahead and talk about methods of obtaining boss points. So one of the best ways to get boss points efficiently is actually to run 5-man Chambers of Zaros on the easiest difficulty. The reason for this is quite simple. Most of the raids bosses give you 4 boss points each, and I believe Olm gives you 10. Because of this, you end up getting around 22 boss points every run through Chambers, and it takes 7 minutes or so, give or take a couple minutes, depending on how good the team is and whether you want to use Infernals, and it can result in a couple hundred boss points an hour. Because of this, it is one of the better ways to go about obtaining boss points, but it's not very beginner friendly. It just wouldn't quite be a guide if I didn't show you one of the best ways to do it. As you can see here, my client is clearly freezing because I guess it knows I'm recording, but nevertheless, you get the point. Chambers of Zaros with a 5-man team, especially if you're all using Infernals, is by far one of the best ways to obtain boss points. But In the spirit of this being more of a beginner-friendly video, let's look at some of the easier ways. Another great way to farm boss points is using the VIP spawner that you can find here at the VIP zone. Now, this does have a paywall of the $500 donator rank. You can find all the benefits of that at topic 3037, I believe. I will leave a link in the description if I remember. This VIP spawner will allow you to spawn a certain number of each of the bosses on this list, depending on your donator rank, per day. And it's a very easy way to get quick boss points, especially with things like Lizardman Shaman and all of the God Wars bosses, which are easy to kill without the minions. The alternative to this would be to simply kill these same bosses where you find them in the boss and teleports. So for a Lizard Shaman, for example, we could just go kill them in the Lizard Shaman lair. It's not going to be quite as fast, but it's still extremely effective, and it doesn't have a $500 pay wall. So there's a real big silver lining there. And I guess the last thing I'll touch on in this video as far as obtaining boss points is just doing whatever the hell you want to do. I mean, sure, we have all these guides, but you don't always have to play efficiently. Do what you find fun. If you want to grind out 8,000 Kraken kills with a full Carol set, then do that. If that's how you want to obtain your boss points, then it's not wrong. It's a little slower than other methods, but if it's how you have fun, that's definitely the method I suggest you do. That being said, though, don't die at Kraken. Don't be Hummo Cake. As much as I would love for there to be a lot more for us to talk about, the entire concept of boss points is pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. There's not a whole lot to it, and I know a lot of people have been wondering where they should spend their first boss points in the perk tree or in the shop, or what they should do with all of them, if they should keep saving them, what they should be killing as far as efficient boss point farming. Hopefully we could answer some of those questions here. I know I didn't have an example of every kind of farm as far as efficiency and speed and whatever goes, but let's be realistic, it would take forever to do that, and I really just wanted to get something out for you guys because I've seen so many people asking questions about it. So hopefully this will suffice. Just at the end of the day, make sure you're doing something that's fun for you. If you want to kill Kraken, like I said, do that. King Black Dragon, do that. You really want some Dragon Claws, go for it. As long as you're getting the boss perk points and you're working on your perk tree, you're moving forward. That's all that matters. So without further ado, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. Hopefully I was able to help you out a little bit, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.